Hello, and thank you for joining us on today's session, How to Extend Kafka Pipelines to Users at the Edge. In this webinar, we're going to dig right into the challenge, the opportunity and solution, showing you how you can harness the power of Kafka to deliver engaging real-time applications to users using Ably. So in a nutshell, we're going to go through how you can minimize the infrastructure, engineering and DevOps costs, speed up your time to market by building on a fully managed real-time infrastructure, and ensure world-class customer experiences with hard availability and delivery guarantees. Finally, how you can keep your data completely secure end-to-end. If you're watching on demand, you still have the opportunity to ask questions on what matters to you most, so please do so. We love hearing from you. And please also feel free to download the white paper on Kafka. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Ben Gamble, our product champion at Ably. Thanks, Ben.
Hi, and welcome to the rest of the webinar about extending Kafka to the public internet with Ably. My name is Ben Gamble. I'm the product champion at Ably. These days, I work as a bit of a tech sommelier. I'm here to help you pair some Kafka with a database, some Ably, and maybe a nice piece of cheese in the middle. So let's talk about streaming data to and from the public internet, why it's important, and how to do it. So this is our real thesis here, which is that it's not much point processing event-driven data in a fast, highly available, scalable way inside your network if you can't also do it outside your network over the internet with the same guarantees. And the thing with Kafka is it isn't designed to be publicly accessible. It was originally built by LinkedIn to handle click streams once they were generated. So it sat behind numerous other servers to allow it to basically be that point of high-speed ingest, high-speed read, and high-speed access. But it was behind all the firewalls. It has lovely durability guarantees, lovely delivery guarantees, really low latency, but it's not designed for dealing with the mobile internet. It's not great for those lovely 4G and 5G and 2G conversations you have sometimes. It's just not for those things. It's not built to cope with someone going in and out of a tunnel or being on spotty Wi-Fi. So that goes one step further, is exposing your Kafka to the internet directly is a bad idea. Like, by default, Kafka doesn't actually come with any security enabled. Apache Kafka, you have to enable all the features by very carefully enabling them all, from SASL to TLS to everything else. By default, you can just connect with no passwords. These things, of course, could be fixed by most Kafka distributions, but it's just a matter of it is not designed to have dynamic permissions. It is designed to just be set up once and run. And kind of restate this again, is if you can't do this over the internet, you're kind of losing the main advantage of having a system like Kafka inside your network, making your event data available, fast, and reliable. So the real question then is, why would you extend your data over the internet? And most of them come down to things like this, which is the real-time update type use cases. This could be anything from stock updates on your website so that people actually know what they can and can't buy, a real-time dashboard tracking everything from user analytics to actual user data for your SaaS product. It could be where your food delivery driver is. And it could also just be the stock trading data on your pension wealth management apps. In addition to the usuals of chat, sports scores, and games. All of these things require data to be delivered as fast as possible to many different people at the same time, but also with the right level of access control. Fanning out of this kind of data only works if it's done fast, otherwise its meaningfulness drops rapidly. It's only really useful having the price of the dollar yesterday if you're trying to do some historical analysis. If you're trying to do something today, yesterday's price isn't going to do you any good. This is where you end up needing this messaging layer between your Kafka and your end users. And it really needs to be a proper, fully fledged messaging layer because there are different requirements between the two systems. And as with Kafka, you wouldn't roll your own Kafka. These days, it is one of those things where, taking MSK, Confluent, Red Panda, or Avon is just the done thing because, to be honest, Kafka is commodity when it comes to managing it. What's really the good bit is how you use it and how you can make the best of it. So why would you build your own messaging layer on top? And let's talk about Ably, and particularly why we come in for this problem specifically. We're a serverless WebSocket platform for all intents and purposes. We provide a real-time pub/sub messaging layer for your applications to access your internal systems. This is everything from fanning out millions of messages for your sports scores to allowing bidirectional comms between users in a chat room. And the point here is we do this with high availability, auto-scaling, and durable messaging all the way through. We're available in 200 plus points of presence globally and a kind of global median latencies of about 65 milliseconds, and that's across the globe. We guarantee delivery of messages and we guarantee ordering of messages, in addition to exactly once delivery semantics, even in the case of disconnections and reconnections. This is delivered by us, managed by us across multiple data centers around the globe to be that one-stop shop for WebSocket-based delivery of data. And what we do with this is power what we consider to be live and collaborative online experiences. These are experiences which are by default connected to the internet. They are live in some way, meaning there's asynchronous data being delivered to your device as fast as it could possibly get there. And often there is collaboration between you and many other users, whether it's chatting about the concert you're watching digitally, whether it is collaboratively editing a document, or even like trying to navigate together to get something done with a fleet management system. All these various use cases, and these are everything from smart devices, web applications, mobile applications, and occasionally server-server comms, can be delivered through us. We are trusted critical infrastructure. And by this, I mean we are trusted by people like Lightspeed Systems to enable and power their safe searching tools online. We are trusted by people like Xperity to send the right doctors to the right part of the right hospitals, treat you correctly. And we're also trusted by others to do things like marketing automation, feature flagging, and collaborative building of your websites. Here's a cool quote from one of our customers. Patricio built Split, which is a feature flagging tool which is scaled into the multi-millions of web properties at the same time. When he came to go real-time, he had many choices. He'd already built similar things before in the past. But when he surveyed his kind of colleagues and network, the one thing that came out resoundingly true was that building it in-house was going to be non-trivial in engineering costs and operating costs. It takes specialist engineers to do this, and to do this well enough to make a difference in his business, it was not a real decision he had to make. Instead, he surveyed the market and then found that building on Ably was the only logical choice. So let's talk about Ably and our Kafka connector. So with Kafka, the connector ecosystem is part of the reason why it is so powerful. It allows you to plug and play with various devices in a nearly no-code, low-code manner. For us, we have a sync connector. This allows you to sync data from Kafka topics into Ably channels at any level of mapping from one-to-one and one-to-many and many-to-one. It can be deployed against any Kafka broker, which is accessible, via standard mechanisms of Kafka Connect as either a distributed or standalone deployment. It works with self-hosted Kafka, fully managed on-prem or in the cloud, as long as the connector can talk out to the internet. And it is gold certified by Confluent and available on their hub in addition. And what it really exists to do is this, which is to say that you have your deployment of Kafka, you have your edge kind of layer, kind of air-gapped with a firewall around your kind of core data centers, and then you have your Connect cluster, allowing you to sync data to any number of users over the edge without having to add additional strain to your cluster. We're having to worry about the scalability of your cluster in the face of potentially millions of users appearing all at once. In addition to that, we also allow you to cache messages in the channels themselves. Ably itself is another write-ahead log, like Kafka, allowing you to basically use it as that kind of edge cache, meaning your Kafka no longer has to be hit up over and over again for that short-term cache. So when you think Ably, think Kafka for the public internet. We're both kind of pub-sub messaging systems, as you may have guessed by now, with similar guarantees and semantics. And they're both quite compatible, but in addition to that, they have some fundamental subtle differences here and there. So Kafka particularly designed for an intranet, designed to basically connect disparate systems in a way which both scales and is resilient, whereas Ably was designed to streaming data over the internet. Kafka takes that idea of saying, I want to be able to deal with these relatively predictable numbers of devices talking to me, normally machines, via the consumers and producer protocols, and is not designed to kind of aggressively scale ahead of time. Creating a topic is an on-disk operation. Creating a partition is an equally involved operation. Rebalancing is a great way to lose your kind of real-time nature of your system. Hence, you want predictable numbers of consumers. Whereas with Ably, it's a bit different. We can create millions of channels in single-digit seconds. We can add millions and millions of connections in under a second. It is just designed from the ground up to deal with a highly elastic, highly variable number of end users' devices and just handle that out the box. And then we get to kind of security mechanisms and how the access control is managed. Kafka can, with all the various features on top of it, have quite clever and complex rule-based authentication, but it's rigid. It's designed to be configured by one team and then used by other teams of people, nearly always engineering teams inside an organization. Whereas with Ably, we're designed to allow you to dynamically permission end users, kick them, control them, grant them more accesses at will inside a kind of user flow that makes sense. They're both robust but incredibly flexible and also very adaptable, allowing things like wildcard access and then subset access to various namespaces of channels. But as you can see by the last box here, we are still fundamentally quite similar. We're designed for high throughput, low latency, concurrency, fault tolerance and durability messages with guarantees on delivery and ordering if you play according to the rules. And although the actual delivery of these kind of high throughput particulars is a little bit different, whereas with Kafka, one topic can take almost any amount of data, and at Ably, you just have an unlimited number of channels, you basically get the same amount of total throughput, but in a way that suits the usage. Now let's talk about build versus buy. And this is where it gets interesting, because you choose Kafka because it is that reliable thing you can put inside your network to make everything better. It is nearly always the most reliable part of your new distributed system, as every microservices system is a distributed system. But once you start adding things on top of it to get it over the wire to the people who actually need the data, you're now building and maintaining a whole bunch of systems, from load balancers to edge servers to everything else, which you then have to add your own high availability to, your own guarantees to. And then there are loads of fixed cost up front where you are literally paying engineers to build things, paying engineers to integrate things, and paying DevOps engineers to maintain and run these and scale them. And what happens there is you've shifted away from building your product to instead shifting to building infrastructure to power your product. And this reduces your agility. It creates a larger burden of code to maintain, but it also reduces your ability to get to market fast, which is what always mattered. There's no point trying to find product market fit if your product doesn't actually get to the market to find the fit. So, and then you have to overcoming all these things. Many of people come to us after they've built all this stuff, just because they found out that what they do have now suited the needs on design, not the needs on delivery. And this is where we come in for that. So if you start looking into the kind of the details here, you end up with this kind of like differential of like, we found that it's nearly 7+ engineers required to build a real-time system of any scale, whereas integrating Ably takes between 1 and 2 people, nearly always 1 front-end and 1 back-end engineer to basically plumb it all in. People tend to go live within single-digit weeks versus 6+ months to actually build a system. And deployment costs end-to-end, based on the kind of average salaries of engineering for kind of in distributed systems, ends up tending to be in the region of over $500,000 saved just by point of launch of the software, let alone operating costs. By operating costs, due to economies of scale, we do tend to be 10x cheaper. And as you get bigger, these savings actually compound upwards. And when you start looking into it, we often find that most of our customers have saved, have an ROI of over $1 million just by the end of year one, just by installing us and using us instead. So now let's walk and talk about one of our more interesting clients, HubSpot. So HubSpot are one of the leading providers of marketing automation, sales automation, and service software for people in the SaaS business space. What happens here is they use us to deliver all real-time features and updates on their various dashboards, in addition to all consumer-facing chat. Every single one of those little chat boxes you see powering a HubSpot-powered website is delivered through us, and through us from their amazing chatbot network and tooling. What HubSpot have leveraged through Ably is the ability to abstract away the complexities of handling all of the connectivity, ordering, and exactly what guarantees you need for a high-quality chat system, so that they can build on top their world-class support features, routing features, and automation features, meaning that they can deliver that true marketing-led experience that users want without having to worry about a bunch of global infrastructure in the way. Speed is absolutely critical. The problem with things which are slow is with chat, you lose the sense of where you are. You lose the sense of immediacy, and as soon as you do that, the illusion is broken and no one wants to interact. Particularly with real-time support, real-time updates, and real-time notifications, this matters because a user is only going to be committed to actually getting that help there and then once. If you lose them, you've probably lost them forever. HubSpot is also growing really rapidly with a 30% year-on-year growth and a lot of money, which means that they need to operate at a scale where it's almost unheard of for most smaller companies. The addition part of this is it means they cannot focus on little things like infrastructure building when it comes to being able to deliver the things their demanding customers want. So outsourcing stuff like the infra for a real-time system makes sense because their goal is to win their customers and deliver for their customers. So they must be able to have systems they can rely on, whether it's AWS for some things and us for others. They rely on our infrastructure to deliver this stuff because it allows them to focus on what they do best and what makes them unique. And let's just run through how we help. Because we power the billions of critical customer interactions that go through this enormous scale, and we enable innovation here, let's run through what actually happened. So they migrated originally from a competitor for quality of service they could depend on, which they could then rapidly integrate and launch. The big thing here is limit the scale and be able to handle the future. They know they're growing fast. They needed to know they had a partner in this who would grow with them and be able to just handle things as they went across. They needed something which from day zero could take millions of connections a second and then go from there upwards. They also wanted something which was quite feature rich. They wanted the ability to buffer messages at the edge, so they didn't have to build additional caching systems or query systems. They wanted this idea of in-stream history so that they could decouple the load on their system from this entire real-time network itself. So they push in, and then users can read. The user can push in, and then they can read. There is no need to couple internal delivery from external delivery. And in addition to this, they, of course, want the ever-classic 5 nines and higher uptime guarantees and integrity. HubSpot has a rigorous commitment to customer satisfaction and to customer quality. This drives revenue, this drives retention of both their customers and their customers' customers. So they needed someone who could match that and work with them on constantly improving quality. Now let's talk about Xperity. This is one of my favorites as I helped onboard them. Xperity are a medical technology company, and what they are is a leading provider of integrated technology for urgent care providers. They source and manipulate patient data from all kinds of internal systems to deliver dashboards to allow accurate views of availability and also to allow people to send people to the right places to meet urgent demands for care across multiple locations. Their initial solution was relied on batch processing, so they would pull in data from various Kafka streams, batch process it, and then push it up to a dashboard to allow someone to try and make decisions on data which was not current. It worked, but it wasn't fast enough, and it definitely wasn't reliable enough. And in life-critical scenarios, that is not enough. So how did we help? So there are over 5,000 healthcare practices that rely on this real-time dashboard, which is 100% powered by Ably. When they came on board, there was a POC, it took 3 weeks for one engineer to go live from nothing. In the first day, he had the POC up and running, which allowed him to go from Kafka streams into their dashboard via Ably. This allowed them to save hundreds of hours of engineering. The original guarantees of HIPAA compliance, uptime, and US-only routing basically meant they could shortcut a lot of the initial kind of building decisions you have to make to build a system which is good enough for healthcare data and safe enough for healthcare data. In addition to this, our uptime guarantees and our reliability in case of outage is such that it allowed them to have the security they needed to move fully onto us as the main delivery of all this data. The robustness guarantees are important here because this is where the system is used to send the right surgeon to the right operating theatre to have an operation done at the right time. If you imagine in the case of urgent care where there's been a car accident and you need the right cardiothoracic surgeon, that is a serious deal to get it wrong. And hence delivering that data through us was the only way to get it done fast enough at the level of quality required. So let's talk about some unique characteristics of Ably. The key thing here is that we have abstracted away as much as we can of the requirements of thinking in terms of scale of users. You can just open up streams to millions of end users at full speed of the internet without having to worry about provisioning. We do that elastically for you. You publish once and n number of people can listen. You can keep your Kafka deployment securely inside your network and only have this clean API layer between it and the outside world in both directions. You can make seamless guarantees that you know that data you could deliver through Kafka will get to end users with even stronger guarantees than you'd normally get with things like exactly once semantics and guaranteed ordering. It's one less thing to get PagerDuty calls at 3 a.m. for, as we offer a 15-minute turnaround SLA to our enterprise clients. Enterprises want enterprise-level guarantees, and they also want to have things that just speed up delivery of features. And this is why we provide simple APIs, complex integrations, and SDKs out the box to allow your engineering team to deliver what they need now. So let's talk about some of the business side of things. And the big thing here is that we are here to reduce your infrastructure, engineering, and DevOps costs when it comes to building these services. We're also trying to reduce your time to market to allow you to ship faster, ship better, and also ship at scale from day one. There's nothing worse than shipping the most amazing feature, but watching it fail because it worked too well and suddenly you had too many customers. We are here to remove the chance of you failing by success, but also by minimizing your costs by only paying what you use due to our flexible pricing. Like things like AWS Lambda, you only pay for what you use. In addition to the fact that we offer it as secure, scalable, and dependable enterprise-grade features for you to get going. It's finding the most of your Kafka investment by taking a system that matches its guarantees outside your network from the ones you've got inside your network. To find out more, please contact us and sign up for a free account and have a play and see what you can do with Ably. If you'd like to get deeper into our Kafka systems and have a better understanding of all this, please contact us and we'll set up a meeting with one of our engineering team so we can run through how we can help you.